So hello and welcome to another little video here, where today I'm going to be telling you what happened with the Ducati Multistrada 1260S. And in my last video, I may have mentioned that at the beginning of this video because I may have already done some sort of intro, but it's been a few weeks since I did a video on this bike. And the main reason for that is that I had been trying to get it sorted out. And if you watch my previous video, you'll remember me telling you as I was going over to the Lake District, I had this kind of misfire on the bike, which would happen when I open the throttle on it. And I'm just looking at the GPS there, telling me that it doesn't seem to be connected to the helmet for some reason. Is that because it's switched off, or just stop here a second? Right, I've now switched it off, which wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do, so I need to switch it on again. Which I haven't yet done. It's a bit weird trying to get to the button at the back of the helmet, find it. There we go. Trying not to distract yourself from riding the bike. So it's a hot day, and we are out on the Multistrada 1260S. I will just bring that shield down a little bit to... Well, he was speeding a bit there, given we hadn't yet got to the de-restricted bits, but there you go. Well, anyway, so here we are on the Multistrada 1260S, and I'm going to tell you in this video a little bit more about what actually happened and why the bike was misfiring. So, it is probably, what, 3-4 weeks ago since I first... I can't remember when I put that video up for the trip to the Lake District, but it was that day where I first sort of had this misfire on the bike, and I did all the usual stuff of like responding to a couple of people, or at least one guy was watching that video, and one of the viewers said I think both him and his mate had either still got a 1260S or previously had one, and the quick shifter was the issue. That was I think it was Alan, if I remember correctly, who said try switching the quick shifter off on the bike, see if that fixes it. It may do. So I did try that, and it didn't fix it, and I thought, right, okay. So I left the quick shifter switched off anyway for a while. And then I went to like a local, managed to just, well, first of all I rang the Ducati dealers in Sheffield, who are kind of not necessarily quite the nearest ones to me, but they're the nearest ones that I feel comfortable going to nowadays. And I mean, I'm saying I feel comfortable going to them. I've never actually been to them yet for Ducati. Or did I? Maybe I took my Hypermotard SP in there at some point, actually. Can't quite remember. But anyway. So I rang them. They said, it's got some kind of warranty on it for 12 months, but we can't see the warranty on the system, so we'll have to ring Ducati Coventry and ask them whether whatever the problem may or may not be, it would or wouldn't be covered under warranty and they would have to prove it, and I thought, my God, how hard can this be? It's misfiring, needs somebody to have a look at it, see if they can see what the problem is, and sort of take it from there. And then they said, oh, well, it's going to be a month anyway before we can get you in. And I'm thinking, well, a month, like, that's the rest of whatever's left of the decent weather of the whole year. So I thought, what else can I do? So I went into this little place in Halifax, I think called Ducati Mondo or something like that. Maybe I've got that wrong. Just doing it completely off the top of my head. And I asked him, would he have a quick look at it? So he basically put it on his diagnostic machine, said he couldn't see any error codes, and that was kind of it. Asked me to go and have a bit of another run around on it, which I thought, well, that's not really gonna you know, so anyway, I did, and of course it hadn't made the slightest bit of difference. It was still misfiring like hell. So I'm thinking, what can I do? So I rang Ducati Coventry and I had a chat with the service manager there, and he kind of gave me a few thoughts of what it might be and so on and so forth. But because I've never worked in my little garage at home on a Ducati before, I've done quite a bit of work on BMWs in the past, I thought, well, what should I do? So anyway, I ended up agreeing with them that they would come and collect the bike, and that was delayed the first time to a second day, which was earlier this week. Anyway, they collected the bike on Monday of this week, took it down to Coventry, and on Tuesday afternoon I got a call from John saying we've had a look at it, and it's simply that one of the HT leads has come loose from one of the spark plugs. So it's just shorting across, and when they reseated it, it was perfectly fine. So I thought, right, how could that happen? He said he didn't know. He mentioned to me that they were supposed to be designed not to come loose. I asked, was there anything I could have done when I was cleaning it? He didn't think so. It's sort of fairly well hidden. I'm still not even sure exactly where to find it. I suppose it may be is it under the fuel tank? Behind the radiator? No idea. So, anyway, so late Tuesday afternoon, I found out that the bike was now perfectly okay. But at the same time, I actually had done my back in from trying to do some stuff in the garden. So I had a painful back, couldn't really do anything. And I needed a couple of days just for that to sort of settle down. And John wasn't sure when they could deliver it back. So I was kind of in this situation where, did I make my own way down to Coventry and try and collect the bike myself? Which on Thursday, by the afternoon on Thursday, it was getting on for like lunchtime, it was sort of about 11:30. I thought maybe my back's good enough today to go down and collect the bike. I mean, my back as I'm doing this video now on Saturday is still not quite right, but anyway. So I went through, I live, like 2.5 hours drive from Coventry, and getting like trains and stuff down there is really multiple trains, taxis, kind of 5 hours of messing around. So anyway, eventually I got a hire car, drove down there, dropped all my gear off at Ducati Coventry, then took the hire car back, then got back to Ducati Coventry, collected the bike and rode it all the way home. And to keep it simple, I did it on motorways because it was a very hot day. It was like 29 degrees centigrade down there, centigrade Celsius, whichever, down there. And it was just a hot day, lots of traffic, not ideal really for bike riding, at least in that part. So it rode fine, when I got it out of there, so I rode it back home all fine, and today I brought it out for a bit of a runabout, just to see if it's still fine. And yep, it's still fine, no misfiring whatsoever. So clearly whatever that issue was simply the one and only issue, and a simple resolution to put it right. I just wished I'd have been able to know where those things were on this bike. So what I might end up doing is getting some kind of service. I bought the Haynes online version of their service book for the R1150 RT when I had that for a short while. And so what I might now do is get the same version of that book, but for this bike if it's available. Because basic stuff like, you know, it is under warranty until next, I think it was May when I bought this bike, so it's under warranty for like another 7 months, whatever, 7-8 months. So I'll probably still have to go in to get serviced or whatever during that period of time. I may end up extending the warranty on it because it was an expensive bike. It's now just done 2,104 miles. When I got it, it was like 1,170. So, give or take, I put about 1,000 miles on it. And we'll be keeping it for probably as long as I can ride motorbikes. So, want to look after it. I've obviously still got the KTM in the garage there. Between that bike and this bike, I've got enough bikes to be going along with. So that was the story. Loose HT lead to one of the spark plugs. That was the misfire problem. So today I was going to go over to Southport or Blackpool, drop into Rivington Barn on the way back, and I got as far as kind of Accrington-y kind of area, and I thought, well, my back wasn't or isn't yet fully sorted out, so I don't want to push that too much, and I decided to stop, have a McDonald's, and I'm just now slowly having a little chilled out ride back home for the next sort of hour and a half. So I will keep videoing it. I've only got the one camera today on the helmet, and I'm hoping all that's working and the sound's being recorded here on the little DJI wireless mic in the helmet. So touch metal, all should be good. I'm just reading on the news actually that there's been a big earthquake in Morocco yesterday evening, I think it was, and over 800 people have been killed as far as I can understand it. That's absolutely dreadful. In fact, one guy who I watched on Twitch as a streamer, a young lad who was streaming on Twitch, was going out with his family to Morocco, and I think that's where they are right now. So I'm hoping that both himself and his family are okay. I will try and have a look on Discord a bit later to make sure that, well, I don't know what I'm making sure, but to maybe ask him if he's okay and try and get an update. But yeah, these things, they just happen, don't they? And it's absolutely horrendous, isn't it? Apart from that, not a lot more going on. I've been kind of watching various live streams, keeping track of what's going on in the news, watching a little bit of news coverage about this escaped convicted murderer in the States near to Wilmington, Pennsylvania, and I think it's is it day 9 or day 10 by now? I can't remember which it is. And Fox 29 in the area, they're covering it with like a bit of a live stream, and then they'll do their news bulletins, and the guy who's doing the news bulletins is also running and talking on the live stream. So that kind of gives you a bit of an insight there. It's somewhere called Longwood Gardens, which is some large kind of manicured area. That apparently he is hiding out, and they keep having these sightings of him in that area. So I mean, I'm guessing they can't be that far off recapturing him, but so there's that going on in the news. There's also the young lad in this country, I believe, who's escaped underneath a food delivery truck, as I understood it from the way it was described on the news, that he'd strapped himself underneath the truck and got out. Apparently he was a soldier or something. Don't know exactly what the details of the reason why he was in prison in the first place, but so one or two things going on in the news. Motorbiking wise, I have not done a lot of biking just recently. One of the reasons being that I have been doing bits of work in the garden, and then I did my back in, which I sort of mentioned earlier, and by doing that I kind of ended up for at least 2 days doing absolutely nothing, trying to keep as still as possible, because you know, if you've ever had any problems with your back, you'll know that it's all like very touch and go, and you've got to be very careful with it, and the slightest move is very painful. That's how it was. I'm just listening to the GPS as she's saying an awful lot of stuff all at the same time here. Right, so we're going up here. Oh yes, this is the way it brought us earlier. Always traffic calming road things all over the place. So it is really good to be out on the Multistrada. Not kind of really been on any sort of pre-planned route yet on this bike where I've been able to do the whole journey for one reason or another. And the most recent one was this Misfire issue, which I kind of did the journey, but you know, sometimes I like to set off early in the morning and spend the entire day just sort of driving a fairly long distance, and then making sure that everything is kind of packed and ready to go, so that you're not like having to spend a whole lot of money on food and drinks and things, because let's be honest, everything now has become so ridiculously expensive. You go to a fuel station, it's not just the fuel that's expensive, but obviously all of the bits and pieces. So if you've got like a drink or whatever, and a bag of sweets or a snack or whatever, chocolate bar, whatever it is, quite often, I'm not joking, you literally come out thinking, I bought 3 or 4 things and that's cost me 10 quid, £10. Oh right, okay, what the fucking hell's going on here then? Excuse my language, but all that was a bit painful there. He clearly wasn't watching at all what he was doing. Wow, I am feeling very, very hot now. saying it's 28 degrees on the bike thermometer. Everybody's walking around in shorts and t-shirts, and that kind of gives you a bit of a clue that perhaps wearing any kind of biking gear, and I've kind of worn the lightest things that I've got with the biker jeans and the light kind of summer jacket that I wear, rather than any of the heavier stuff, but still it is quite warm. Now the other day when I was kind of coming up from Coventry, and a lot of the time I was on the motorways, but some of the time I was also on like A roads and B roads. Oh shit me, man. That tractor there, that was just blatantly dangerous, wasn't it? How wide over was he over that road there? So we're just coming through some nice kind of, I thought, rather than worrying necessarily about roads for riding along, I'd come along a few kind of more scenic little routes that I was just going to trundle along. And you've got to watch out for the wildlife around here, because there's usually quite a lot of it in the road. Sometimes you do get one or two bikes flying around here from the other direction that you've got to keep an eye out for too. And 4x4s coming the other way on the wrong side of the road, and of course tractors too today, from experience just a few minutes ago. A very nice open sort of hilly part of Yorkshire up here, sort of heading out. I'm saying it's Yorkshire, I think we're back in Yorkshire now, I'm not sure. Might still be touching, might still be Lancashire for all I know. Quite sure exactly where we are, but somewhere kind of, I think maybe adjacent to Skipton and on the way to Keighley, but not sure if we've actually got as far as Skipton yet. The last town we were in was Nelson, which is obviously in Lancashire. And that was a good 15 minutes ago now. If that's Studley Pike I can see up there on the top of that hill, which you won't be able to see, I don't think, with the camera. Way up there. Maybe now you can see some little artifacts on the hills. Or probably not with the action cameras, they don't really give you a lot. So I think this direction was where it was signposted towards Keighley anyway, which was broadly the direction I'm going in at the minute, and then from there it's heading home. So the weather is brilliant today. It's now saying 25 degrees here. We're a little bit higher up, so a little bit more of a breeze as well. very agricultural kind of area, so I'll have to keep watching out for those tractors and trailers. Oh, yes, the old back when I just adjust myself. Very straight piece of road, isn't it? Again, little undulations, peaks and troughs. Oh! And some not very good sunken drain hole covers, or whatever they were, hole covers. Glosburn and Cross Hills. Glosburn. Are we in Scotland now? Not sure I have ever been through Glosburn. I don't know what it stands for, anything about it, but it just had that kind of like Scottish sound in my head, at least. So now it's telling me to turn left here. Oh my god, that was a drop. Felt that on the old yes. So I think this little thing here, it's just done here, is like one of the kind of artifacts of the frailty of these GPS systems, which are generally pretty good, I have to say. But when it comes to like on the odd occasion, it's like trying to take me there up into a pub car park to get back onto a main road. I mean, that is just like, really? That's literally how that GPS has told me to get to here, by going through a pub car park and in a direction that technically I'm not sure I was supposed to go. So anyway, we are probably coming to the end of the time on this camera. Don't know how much of this video I'm going to actually use, but if you've made it this far through, whether that was 10 minutes, 20 minutes or half an hour, God only knows. But thank you very much for watching. Do take care of yourselves. If you ride bikes, ride safe, even ride safely. And if you don't ride bikes, still be safe, and hopefully I'll see you again next time, whether I'm out on the Multistrada or out on the KTM 1290 Super Adventure S, whichever way it is, or doing something completely different. I hope to see you then. Do consider subscribing if you haven't. There's absolutely no point in you doing that because it's a lot of crap on this channel, but you know, sometimes that bit of crap is worth watching just to pass some time. So thank you very much again, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye for now.